customary meeting with outgoing First Lady Jill Biden, Melania seems ready to craft her unique path in America's most visible unpaid role.
Is there bad blood? A New York Post source says yes, claiming that it stems from the FBI's raid of the Trump's Florida home.
Did Melania Trump just start a First Lady rebellion? She's giving the White House Tea Party the cold shoulder, and it's got everyone's panties in a twist. But here's the real tea. Is Melania onto something? Maybe it's time to ditch the China cups and finger sandwiches for something a little more 2024. Let's dive into this First Lady drama and see if Melania is onto something, or just being a party pooper. Looks like Melania Trump prefers Mar-a-Lago's golden throne to the White House china. Who needs tea with Jill Biden when you've got a solid gold toilet seat, right? But jokes aside, this Tea Party tradition is kind of a big deal. For decades, outgoing First Ladies have invited their successors over for a cozy chat and a tour of the White House. It's like the world's fanciest job orientation, complete with cucumber sandwiches and awkward small talk. So why is Melania giving this tradition the cold shoulder? Well, let's just say there might be more brewing here than Earl Grey. Could it be lingering election bitterness? Or maybe she's just not a tea person. Call Pfeff anyone.
To the White House, but with a twist. This time, she may not in fact call it home at all. In a bold move that is raising questions and breaking tradition.
Past First Lady tea parties have ranged from heartwarming to downright cringeworthy. Remember when Laura Bush welcomed Michelle Obama with open arms? That was nice. But then there was the time Nancy Reagan and Rosalind Carter sat in icy silence, probably wishing they could spike their tea with something stronger. One political commentator quipped, "Melania's snub is like forgetting to send a thank you note. If that note was a centuries-old tradition and you were on national TV." Ouch. So what's Melania's beef? Well, she's not exactly spilling the tea, but sources close to her say she's still steaming over the 2020 election results. Plus, there's that whole Mar-a-Lago FBI raid thing that's got her in a tizzy. It seems Melania's taking the "I really don't care, do you?" approach to First Lady duties these days. This Tea Party rejection fits right in with Melania's whatever attitude to the whole First Lady gig. Remember when she wore that infamous jacket on a trip to visit migrant children? Or how about her less than enthusiastic Christmas decorations? Melania's been writing her own First Lady rulebook from day one, and it doesn't include any chapters on tea parties.
You know, the First Lady usually invites the incoming First Lady over to the White House for tea or to give them a tour.
So what does this mean for future First Lady traditions? Are we gonna see the end of White House Easter egg rolls and turkey pardons next? Or maybe Melania's onto something here. After all, who says First Ladies have to play nice just because their husbands are trading nuclear codes? Who needs nuclear codes when you've got fashion codes? In the blue corner, we have Dr. Jill Biden, rocking sensible pumps and a PhD. In the red corner, Melania Trump serving looks that could stop traffic faster than a Secret Service motorcade. But this First Lady face-off goes way deeper than hemlines and headlines. Are you ready for some serious shade throwing that makes the White House Rose Garden look like amateur hour? Let's face it, Jill and Melania are about as different as a community college and a fashion runway. Jill's out there teaching English and hugging kids, while Melania's busy, well, we're not really sure what she's busy doing. Maybe she's still unpacking from the White House move. Their approaches to being First Lady are like night and day. Jill's all about being visible, shaking hands, and probably baking cookies for the entire Secret Service. Melania, on the other hand, seems to think the First Lady role is more of a suggestion than a job description. She's about as enthusiastic about public appearances as a cat is about bath time. The internet's having a field day with this feud. One tweet read, "Jill and Melania's tea party would have more tension than my family's Thanksgiving dinner." Another joked, "Plot twist, Melania and Jill form a book club, but it's just Melania reading The Art of the Deal over and over." Now we've got some hot gossip from the grapevine. An anonymous source close to Melania spilled the tea, saying Jill Biden's husband authorized the FBI snooping through her underwear drawer. The Bidens are disgusting. Yikes! Talk about airing out dirty laundry.
She ain't going. Jill Biden's husband authorized the FBI snooping through her underwear drawer. The Bidens are disgusting.
And why, as you said, was our sources say that it has to do with the FBI raiding her home Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump.
Literally. Can you imagine if these two actually met? It'd be like mixing oil and water, except the oil is wearing designer labels and the water has a doctorate. The tension would be thicker than the White House walls. This Tea Party snub is just the cherry on top of their ongoing feud sundae. It's like Melania's taking her final bow in the First Lady drama by giving tradition the middle finger. Her office even put out a statement that was basically the PR equivalent of, "I know you are, but what am I?"
Melania's wardrobe and her stuff. They also allegedly went through one of their son Barron Trump's rooms.
So here's the million-dollar question. Do first ladies really need to play nice? I mean, their husbands are busy arguing over the nuclear football, so maybe it's time to cut the ladies some slack. Who knows, maybe Melania and Jill are secret besties, and this is all an elaborate prank on us. Now that would be some real political tea. But wait, there's more drama brewing in this First Lady soap opera. What if I told you the real reason behind Melania's Tea Party snub had nothing to do with fancy china or cucumber sandwiches? It's time to raid the truth about why Melania is giving Jill the cold shoulder. Spoiler alert, it involves the FBI, some angry tweets, and a closet full of secrets. Remember that FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago back in August 2022? Well, it turns out they weren't just looking for boring old classified documents. They were on a top secret mission to find Melania's missing smile. Okay, maybe not really, but they did go through her personal stuff, which is enough to make anyone grumpy.
Turned down an invitation to the White House to meet Jill Biden and cited the Biden administration's raid on Mar-a-Lago as part of the federal government's investigation.
So picture this, the FBI shows up at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's fancy Florida resort, and starts digging through everything. They even search Melania's wardrobe and little Barron's room. Talk about a bad hair day for the Trumps. Melania was not happy about this surprise visit from the FBI. She called it an invasion of privacy and said, "Yeah, it made me angry. Can you blame her? Imagine coming home to find a bunch of guys in suits rifling through your undies drawer." Melania wasn't mincing words when she said, "I saw unpleasant stuff that nobody wants to see." Yikes. Now, let's play a little game called What Did the FBI Find in Melania's Closet? Was it a secret stash of "I really don't care, do you" jackets, a guidebook on how to avoid holding hands with your husband, or maybe just a bunch of designer outfits that cost more than most people's houses? We may never know, but it's fun to imagine. Here's where things get spicy. An insider close to Melania spilled some serious tea. They said Melania's got a grudge against the Bidens because of this raid. The source didn't hold back, saying Jill Biden's husband authorized the FBI snooping through her underwear drawer. The Bidens are disgusting. Ouch. That's some scalding hot tea right there. So is this raid the real reason Melania's giving Jill's Tea Party the cold shoulder? It sure looks that way. Melania seems to think the Bidens aren't worth her time after this whole mess. It's like she's saying, "You raid my house, I raid your tea party."
Jill Biden's husband authorized the FBI snooping through her underwear drawer. The source also said Jill Biden isn't someone Melania needs to meet.
But here's the million-dollar question. Is this raid really why Melania's skipping tea? Or is it just a convenient excuse? Maybe she just doesn't like crumpets. Or maybe she's too busy writing her memoir, How to Be Best at Avoiding White House Traditions.
Customary meeting with outgoing First Lady Jill Biden, Melania seems ready to craft her unique path in America's most visible unpaid role.
Either way, it looks like this tea party is officially canceled. Sorry, Jill, maybe next time try inviting her to a fashion show instead. Forget about tea parties. Melania Trump's cooking up a whole new recipe for First Lady behavior. But here's the kicker. What if her rebellious acts aren't just random snubs, but part of a bigger plan to shake up the White House? Let's peek behind the curtain of Melania's not-so-traditional approach. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Melania's Guide to First Lady Rebellion.
Trump at the White House tomorrow. Don't expect to see Melania there. The incoming First Lady is expected to skip her meeting with outgoing First Lady Jill Biden.
Step 1. Wear a jacket that says you don't care. Step 2. Skip all the boring parties. Step 3. Redecorate the White House like it's a fancy hotel. Boom, you're now a certified First Lady rebel. But seriously, Melania's been breaking First Lady norms since day one. While other First Ladies were planting gardens and reading to kids, Melania was, well, doing her own thing. Remember when she took her sweet time moving into the White House? Or when she decided Christmas decorations should look like something out of a horror movie? Compare that to traditional First Ladies like Laura Bush or Michelle Obama. They were all about literacy programs and fighting obesity. Melania, she was more interested in fighting cyberbullying while her husband was tweeting up a storm. Talk about an awkward family dinner conversation. Political analysts are having a field day with Melania's unique approach. One of them said, Melania is redefining the first lady role by basically ignoring it. Ouch.
This morning, multiple sources tell CNN that Melania Trump is unlikely to move back into the White House full-time in January. So
Another quipped, she's not breaking traditions, she's just forgetting they exist. Double ouch. But let's not forget all the other traditions Melania skipped. No hosting of the annual Easter egg roll? Check. No inviting congressional spouses to the White House? Double check. It's like she's playing First Lady bingo, but instead of marking squares, she's erasing them. This Tea Party snub, it's just the cherry on top of Melania's Rebellion Sunday. It fits right into her pattern of doing things her way. White House protocol be damned. She's basically saying, you want me to play nice with Jill Biden? Sorry, I don't really care, do you? So what does all this mean? Well, it looks like Melania's redefining the First Lady role whether we like it or not. She's showing that First Ladies don't have to follow a script. They can pick and choose what traditions they want to keep, kind of like a political buffet. But here's the million-dollar question. Is Melania's approach refreshing or just plain disrespectful?
Well, John, Melania Trump spent her first 4 years in office showing a willingness to buck tradition, and she is laying an early marker here.
Is she a trailblazer for future first ladies, or is she leaving a trail of broken traditions in her wake? Maybe it's time we ask ourselves, do we really need all these first lady traditions, or is Melania onto something with her rebellious ways? You know that feeling when you're throwing a party and the guest of honor ghosts you? Well, the White House is living that nightmare right now, and they're probably stress eating all the tea sandwiches they ordered for Melania. So what's the official word from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? They're trying to play it cool, but you can bet there's some serious sweating going on behind those fancy curtains. Melania's office dropped a bomb, saying she's not coming because her hubby's heading back to the Oval Office for transition stuff. It's like when your friend cancels plans because they suddenly remembered they have to wash their hair. Behind the scenes, you just know there's a bunch of staffers running around like headless chickens. They're probably drawing straws to see who has to break the news to Jill Biden that her tea parties turned into a party of one. Can you imagine that conversation?
Jill Biden invited Melania Trump over for tea, but our sources say that Melania is going to skip it.
Dr. Biden, about those cucumber sandwiches. The internet's having a field day with this whole mess. One tweet joked, White House cancels tea party, switches to shots instead. Another meme showed Jill Biden sitting alone at a table for two, captioned, me waiting for my Tinder date to show up. Now, we couldn't get anyone on record. Shocker, but word on the street is that some White House staffers are pretty ticked off.
The reason she's skipping this Jill Biden meeting is because she's still upset about that raid.
So
one anonymous source whispered, we spent weeks planning this thing. Do you know how hard it is to find doilies these days? So how's the White House gonna spin this to the public? Maybe they'll say Melania's allergic to tea, or that she's busy planning her own rival tea party with blackjack and, well, you know the rest. But seriously, they're in a tough spot. They can't exactly call Melania out without looking petty, but they can't ignore it either. In the end, Jill Biden took the high road. She wrote a nice letter to Trump, probably filled with more shade than a fancy parasol. It's like she's saying, no tea, no problem. I'll just sip on this piping hot class instead. But here's the million-dollar question. How's this snub gonna affect the whole transition of power thing? Is this the start of a new Cold War, but with more passive-aggressive tweets and fewer missiles? Only time will tell, folks, but one thing's for sure. This White House Tea Party drama is far from over. Grab your popcorn or your crumpets and stay tuned. Forget tea parties. What if the next First Lady hosts Taco Tuesday at the White House instead? It sounds crazy, but some experts are actually pushing for a total makeover of First Lady traditions. Are we ready to trade in white gloves for oven mitts? Let's play a quick round of First Lady traditions bingo. We've got plant a tree, redecorate the White House, and host boring dinners. Bingo. Oh wait, that's just a normal Tuesday for these ladies. But seriously, do these old school customs still matter in 2023? Some stuffy experts say yes. These traditions are crucial for a smooth transition of power, but others are like, nah, let's shake things up. One political scientist joked, maybe instead of tea parties, they could have a TikTok dance-off. First Lady to go viral wins.
Was there bad blood? A New York Post source says yes. claiming that it stems from the FBI's raid of the Trumps' Florida home. Now, the source.
Speaking of new traditions, how about National Take Your First Lady to Work Day or White House Karaoke Night hosted by the First Lady? I'd pay good money to see Jill Biden belting out Don't Stop Believin' while Melania Trump does a dramatic reading of The Art of the Deal. But jokes aside, society's view on the First Lady role is changing faster than Trump's Twitter password. People are starting to ask, why does the president's spouse need a job description anyway? It's not like we elect them. Maybe it's time to let first ladies and future first gentlemen do their own thing. A recent poll showed that most Americans care more about a first lady's personal achievements than how well she can host a tea party. One respondent said, "I'd rather see the first lady cure cancer than worry about what china to use for dinner."
Sources are telling CNN tonight that former First Lady Melania Trump, and incoming First Lady, is expected to RSVP no to a White House sit-down.
So is it time to toss these dusty old traditions out like last week's leftovers? Maybe. After all, we're living in a world where the president tweets policy decisions and TikTok influencers have more sway than some politicians. Why should the First Lady role be stuck in the 1950s? But here's the million-dollar question. What does this mean for future First Ladies or First Spouses? Will they be free to redefine the role as they see fit? Or will they be caught in a tug-of-war between tradition and modernization? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the next White House move-in day is gonna be interesting. Maybe they should skip the tea and break out the tequila instead. So maybe it's time we let First Ladies tear up the rule book and do their own thing. After all, there's no manual for being First Lady, as Michelle Obama once said. Who knows, the next one might start a White House TikTok account or turn the Rose Garden into a skate park. What do you think? Should we keep the old traditions or let First Ladies go rogue? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Maybe Jill and Melania will read them while they're not having tea together. And hey, if all else fails, we could always send Melania and Jill to a couples counselor. So tell me about your feelings towards China patterns and FBI raids. Now that's a reality show I'd watch.